Welcome, everybody. This is Beverly again. This is the fourth in my series of interviews that I've been doing with my network, my friends, my LinkedIn connections, and all the people I've met around the world. And we've been talking to some very interesting persons. Today, I'm very happy to have as my guest Everold Reid. Hi, Everold. Hi.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the house.
Yeah, in the house. Welcome. Well, I'm Beverly from Hulain Strategic
Oh, thank you.
Services. And I have with me today Everold Reid. As I said, he is a passionate, award-winning sales leader and sales mastery coach. He's a speaker. He's an author. He's a podcaster. Everything in sales. This man has been in the top 1% of the sales game for the last about 7-8 years.
And beyond.
And beyond. And now he runs his own consulting business, just sharing his experiences with his customers and his partners and his network. And his book is called The Reid Method. Now,
Yes.
I'll tell you about the power of LinkedIn. I met Everold on LinkedIn about 3 years ago. About
Yes.
3 years ago, I believe. And we just connected. He's a Jamaican boy, grew up here. He now lives in Canada.
Yes, Manchester born.
Manchester born. He gave me a copy of his book about 2 years ago, I think. And we've been connecting ever since. And today, we are connecting using the technology, just like everybody else.
Yes.
And we're going to have an interesting conversation. No. In this fourth episode, we thought we would talk about how to sell yourself. Now, here's why we're doing this. Pre-COVID or post-COVID, we will still need to influence other human beings through relationships about what it is that we have to sell, whether it's our ideas, our products, or our services. Now, the physical buildings exist. A lot of us are in lockdown. We're still working remotely. Those who can't are just sitting and working with the curfew days or the early lockdowns. But while the buildings are not as occupied, what we're having is a convergence of everything in our homes just working together. So it is the devices, it's the relationships, it's our children, it's our family. Everything is converging and we're still working. And we still have to influence through conversations, influence people about our ideas and our products, especially for salespeople, especially for entrepreneurs who say, boy, I'm in business, and I really don't know. I'm not a salesperson. But today we're going to give you some tips. We will still need to talk to other human beings and sell to other human beings. And for now, people still buy from people.
100%.
Relationships are important. Maybe 30 years from now, we'll be talking to robots, but for now, it's still relationships. Welcome, Everold. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. And speaking about technology, I had to plug my laptop in. Can you? So the simplest part of it, I forgot.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
But I did it already, so that's good.
That's fine. And I think it's one of the benefits of what's happening now. We are getting accustomed to making everything work together and just don't worry too much about the hiccups and the patches. We just move right along.
Exactly. We just roll with the punches,
Roll
but I'm
with
excited.
The punches, right? Yes.
I'm excited to be here with you.
Excellent. Thank you for being our fourth guest, sir.
Well, absolutely. I appreciate it.
Right. So let me give our audience, a synopsis of the 4 areas that we're going to be touching on. Yeah. So we'll talk about how to sell yourself at work, in life, or generally to the world. How do you go about evolving and improving yourself and sell yourself in any situation? Yeah. A few quick tips in building our storyline as to who we are. And also how to get people interested in you if you're walking to the elevator or the water cooler or the parking lot. And you need to tell someone else and influence someone about who you are and why you, because that's really what it comes down to. Selling yourself, it's why you. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. And we're going to be relying on your expertise. I'll chime in. I'm so happy that we're from the same space.
I know, eh?
Great.
And speaking about selling ourselves, you're right. You reflected back to the LinkedIn connection, but I purposely and deliberately reached out to you a couple of times. And, when on one of my last visits, I brought you a copy of the book, and we had never met. But this is how people just have to make the effort. And part of selling yourself is, in fact, making the effort. And
Absolutely.
my last podcast on Wednesday was with Joey Jackson from CNN, and I've had Les Brown and many other, well-known worldwide thought leaders. Um, and selling yourself to those people. I mean, I'm a guy from South Manchester, Grovetown, Manchester. So
Country boy.
country boy, right? So who am I to say to those people, I want you to come on my show and share your thoughts and give me your time?
Mhm.
But I was able to somehow sell myself to them to get their attention. And now 60 episodes later, we are rocking and rolling. So here we are.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And that's largely selling yourself to people who you connect with online. So some,
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So Everald, you've been experienced in this thing. How do you really sell yourself? And let
Hmm.
us position this really for the right people.
Yes.
Whether you are in sales or you are a professional or you're a business person, business owner, you always have the need to sell yourself because it is
Yes.
ideas, your products, your services. And so this is not only related to salespeople, is it? It isn't, right?
No, no. Today, to succeed and to thrive, not just to make a dollar, or, make a few dollars, to succeed and to thrive and to grow, you have to build relationships. And that's fundamentally from the individuals connecting with each other and selling themselves, building what really matters, which is a relationship. So back in the day where you'd be scared to talk to a lawyer or a doctor or somebody like that because they were an official and you can't really communicate with that person on a low
Yes.
level, those relationships have to change, because people want to deal with people with empathy.
Yes.
So that's very important. So I think today, though, with the time that we have, definitely we have to reposition ourselves how we sell ourselves to the world, to our
Yes.
neighbors, and in life in general. And we have to continue to evolve, because the way we were selling ourselves even 6 weeks ago
Yes.
is a little different from how we're doing it today,
Absolutely.
because
Totally.
because it's brought a lot of us to a different reality of what really matters to individuals and what really matters to each other. So in order to do that, we have to dive deep down and develop ourselves and ask ourselves some questions. What does success look like for me? How am I at my best self? So for example, right now, I haven't had a haircut in 6 weeks. I know. You look fine, by the way.
Well, it's home do, man.
Well, ain't much doing here except cutting it. So, but, but I know that when I'm out there presenting myself to people, that my hair's got to be a certain way. I have to dress a certain way, because that builds my confidence. So when you go to present yourself to anyone, okay, whether you're selling them or not, whether you're offering a product or service for money or not, that's not all you're selling. If you're just going to meet a neighbor, if you're just going to meet a friend that you haven't met for a while, you want to be at your best self. So we have to today, we talked a lot about perspective this week, is reignite our perspective and enthusiasm about what our best self looks like. So when are you most confident? You know that. When do you feel good? When do you feel you can go out there and knock it out of the park? You must know when that is.
Okay, all right. So in selling ourselves then, Everald, and you said we have to dig deep down to find who we really are. Because in selling
Yes.
ourselves, people buy authenticity. People by who you
Yes.
really are. And so it is so important for us to find out who we really are so that we can sell that to whomever, wherever, because it is us being passionate about what we come with, our strengths, our own stories that we've built up over time. This is who we are and we can't change it. But once we've settled
That's
with
right.
that, then it is fine to be your authentic self right now. So let us then look at how do we evolve so that we remain relevant and continue to sell ourselves?
Well, you definitely have to pay attention to, you have to invest in yourself, number one. You have to realize that, like I said, what worked last week or 6 weeks ago may not work this week or
Yes.
going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that is looking at within yourself authentically, what are some of the things that you have to change? Where do you have to pivot? What do you have to learn? Um, so the first impression is valuable, number one. What's my first impression like to you, to the audience, to my neighbor, to my people in my coworkers? And you can't come across as arrogant. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing where, well, I know everything and I don't need to listen to you, and it's a one-sided conversation. So first impression, you can't come across as being desperate
Yes.
or corny. Okay, so if
Mm-hmm.
you're meeting people, desperation doesn't sell.
Yes.
And even if you're the most knowledgeable, the third thing is, even if you're the most knowledgeable within your space, sometimes you have to dumb it down, bring it down on the other person's level so that they can understand exactly what you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And don't come across as, using all the big words and whatever, and all the big analogies
Mm-hmm.
to tune people out.
Right.
And the other thing is that you have to back up your resume. That's kind of like the fourth thing. You have to back up your resume. So if you're going to put things on your LinkedIn profile or on your resume, you have to be able to back it up with facts or stories, and stories sell. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your greatest accomplishments or how many, degrees you have, but what are the stories that support that?
Mm-hmm.
What have you done in the real world that people
Mm-hmm.
can identify with, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you have to disrupt sometimes or not, because sometimes when you're selling yourself, one of the things I know for a fact, especially I've learned hard lessons here in this country, is some of the best ideas that my company uses, I created, like
Mm-hmm.
the dealerships that I've worked at and I've helped to build.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I was too shy to speak up and say, here, this is an idea. And then the next minute you hear your idea being pitched to everybody that the managers and the owners are using, when you're the one that created that idea. So you
Yes.
can't be shy. Yes. So you can't be shy, and you have to be a unicorn. Sometimes you have to be creative. You have to be original, and don't be afraid to be original or be creative.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like the point that you mentioned where sometimes you have an idea and
Yeah.
you are shy to articulate it,
Yes.
or you just mention it under your breath. And when you were telling it to someone else, you were not very confident about it.
And
Someone
then
else
the teeth it.
somebody has heard it. But here's
Yes.
what the difference is. It is the difference is in the person who communicated it. It's the
Correct.
same idea, but the person who then articulated it to the right people obviously was more passionate about it, believed in it more than you. It
Hmm.
gets implemented or put in place, and then the impact or the results are connected with the person who articulated it, who they bought it from, and not you.
And not me. Exactly.
And that
So you
doesn't
can't.
change.
No. So you have to, if you have a good idea, you can't be afraid. And to speak to that point, um, fundamentally, whether, I work with Lexus and Toyota here still as well. And whether someone comes to my dealership to buy a car from me versus the several other dealerships that have the identical car,
Mm-hmm.
comes fundamentally down to one of the things you mentioned already: authenticity,
Yes.
value, and
Mm-hmm.
convenience.
Yes.
Are you keeping it real? Are you offering value to that person? And part of selling, if what you're selling or projecting to somebody else does not uplift them,
Mm-hmm.
so it improves their lives, especially today. Like, look at the circumstances today. If
Yes.
you're offering anything to anyone that is
Yes.
not uplifting or improving their lives, don't even bother.
You're so right. You're so right. Because I have been supporting some of my customers over this period.
Hmm.
And the conversation is whatever products you have in your arsenal, pluck out the one that will help people to solve a situation, make them feel better,
Hmm.
make them feel more comfortable or plan for the future, whatever that thing is. That is what you ought to be to be encouraging people. And then you can't go into the conversation, as you said, with with lots of bright, bushy-eyed kind
Yes.
of conversations. We have to demonstrate the empathy that
Yeah.
is so fitting for the time, because that is a part of selling yourself. You're selling yourself to say, hey, listen, I am not a piece of board or a piece of paper. I'm a human being who connects with you on a human level. And I
Yes.
understand what's going on now. And even though I have something that you could buy or, sort out some issue you have, I understand. Here I am as a human being, from one human to the other. And that is still selling yourself.
Yes. And in a time like this, if you want to, you know, prop yourself up even more, is a lot of the clients that I've reached out to, and I've emailed or called or messaged probably, well over 100
Mhm.
um, business clients. I have not reached out to them to sell them anything. The message is simple.
Yes,
How are you doing? How
yes,
are you keeping? Let me know if you need anything.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And
Yes,
that goes a long way to, hopefully, when we get to the other side of this and
yes,
we start engaging on business again,
right.
they're going to see that email trail that you reached out to them before.
Right, right. And funnily, I've been saying to myself how things have slowed down, but I'm kind of busy because of what you just said. I reached out to
Yes.
my customer network and said, how are you? How are
Yeah.
you doing? Is there anything I can help you with? And I'm actually working, helping my clients to look at their business continuity plans,
Yeah.
look at some webinars that they want me to do, look at conversations to support their sales team. So you're still busy because you
Absolutely.
are supporting your customer in the place where they need it most.
Absolutely.
So any professional right now across any industry, that's the best thing you can do.
Unbelievable. Even this morning on my drive in, I had a call from a gentleman in the UK who I just met in Vegas when we spoke there in February.
Yes,
People are just simply looking for other people to connect with and to
yes,
bounce things off right now. And
absolutely.
and the last thing to that point, I'll share with you, Beverly, is to the audience today and everybody listening in Jamaica and across the world. Um, the way to sell yourself is to improve your value to the marketplace. And to improve your value to the marketplace is basically to learn, improve yourself. We've had so much time to learn. We've had so much time to e-learn and do whatever at home and to get
Yes,
better.
yes,
If you increase your value to the marketplace, your clients will listen to you and identify with you as an authority, as a leader, as someone who cares.
right, exactly. And someone who, as you mentioned, that the sales thing can't get out of me in Everold, because when you improve yourself, right, and you improve your knowledge about whatever product, industry, marketplace, trends, whatever is happening, you are in a position where you can bring what you call insight
Yes,
to the other
100%.
person or to your customer,
That's right.
because
That's right.
people have different ideas to do different things. But now you can say, hey, I know you're saying to do it this way, but here's what other people have done. Here's what I've seen that have been done successfully, or here's what my company has done successfully. And so I would give you one or two tips, or just a
Yes.
different way of thinking about the same solution. And what may happen is that you come up with what should I say, a mixed basket of goods, which is called a solution. But
Yes.
included in that set of solutions is ideas from you,
Yes.
and it is still
Absolutely.
selling yourself.
That you offered for, for free,
Yes,
right?
that you offered for free. Yes.
That he offered for free. One of the biggest contributors to my success over the years in Canada has been the ability to serve others. Okay,
Yeah.
so I've solved my clients' problems.
Yes.
Primarily, prior to starting my own business, I was with Lexus and Toyota for many, many years. I still am. But we've been closed. But the reason why I sell to the same client over and over and over every couple of years
Mhm.
is simply because I've solved their problem. They don't want to go anywhere else because they can't be bothered with starting over the relationship and
Yes.
having to, it's too difficult. So if you sell yourself enough that you bring enough value to these people, that you solve their problems. If you're a doctor, you're solving the problem. If you're a dentist, if you're a car salesperson, you're
Yes.
the car guy. They'll
Mhm.
call you for anything. They can't be bothered with going to start over somewhere else. That's
Yes.
where the value
Yes.
comes in.
Yes. And if you're inside your company and you're not a salesperson, there are always issues and problems to be solved.
Always.
Companies are always looking for new ideas, breakthrough ideas, simple ideas that doesn't cost a lot, that they
Yes.
can use to solve issues within the company. So whether you
Yeah.
are selling to people or external to your company or internal to your company, it remains the same. We just want
Yes.
problem solved. So you know what I want to mention as well, Everold,
Yes.
is sometimes in sales we talk a lot about problems to be solved, but there's an upside of it as well. There are opportunities to be pursued. And sometimes our customers or our bosses, they may not be aware of the opportunity that is to be pursued with your idea, because your idea may not be solving a problem, but it could be creating an opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And too often companies don't allow employees to speak up, and that's where all the best ideas are.
Yes.
So any business owners or bosses or managers on the other side of COVID wants to significantly improve their impact, their employees' lives,
Yes.
and increase their business for the future, I would strongly urge they take a listen to the ideas that
Yeah.
their team members have.
You're absolutely right. Some great tips there, Everald. So far, we've spoken about, just positioning yourself, improving yourself, educating
Yes.
yourself, influencing others, whether you're a
Others.
salesperson or not, and demonstrating empathy, seeing things
Mhm.
from the other person's perspective, because that is selling yourself,
Yes.
providing value, solving problems, being authentic and credible. Now, you want to give a few tips about building your storyline to selling yourself?
Yeah, so we can do that. If we're going to do this quickly in an elevator, like the good old elevator pitch.
Oh, yes.
So you have a couple of minutes or a minute in an elevator. How do you do this?
Yeah.
So you're not going to sell everything in this first interaction. So uh, at first, you know who you are, what do you do, and basically what's the takeaway from this 30-second, 1-minute conversation.
Yes.
So it's about mutual respect, mutual introduction. And if you don't know what you want to achieve, don't go down this road because you'll mess it up. And then you may
Yes.
not get that second chance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you definitely have to know what you want to achieve, introduce who you are, what you want out of this meeting. So, and then you have to get to the point. Okay. Um, if it's somebody else that if once you've met them in the elevator, leave yourself the opportunity to follow up after. So you're getting quick information, unless you've spent some time after you got out to have another minute or two. It's a good practice actually to let that first good interaction go of the meeting, and
Yes.
then follow up right after. Okay, so you
Mm-hmm.
got business card, you connect on LinkedIn, and then you start the conversation. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then what is your story? People relate to stories. So you may not need to break out the resume here, okay? Because resume is not what's going to connect you, but
Right.
your story, a quick story might. And that's what you follow up on, okay?
Right. Okay. All right.
And don't make it a one-sided affair.
Okay. Okay. So you want to expound on that some more? Don't make it a one-sided affair.
Well, you invite feedback from the other person. So if you meet somebody and you say, oh yeah, my name is so and so, and it's good to ask them what they do before you try to ask them for anything. Okay, let them
Uh,
tell you. Okay, so I've seen you a couple of times in the elevator. What company are you with, and what do you do? And people like to talk about themselves, so you let them talk.
right. Okay. And
Okay.
there's something that I learned a few years ago, that most people don't have time, right? Never have
Yes.
time. And people say, hey, I don't have time. And one of the ways it has worked for me is, I understand you don't have time, and I appreciate, I'm recognizing your time. We're gonna speak, and when that time comes, just let me know, and we can continue the conversation after this. How about that?
Yes.
My
Yes.
personal experience is that conversation goes on and on, because what I've done is give the other person the power, empower them the right to stop the
Say no.
conversation and to say no,
Yeah.
right? But if you are selling yourself indeed, and the conversation is interesting to the other person, then the conversation will go on. So
Yes.
Let me see. What else would you tell us? I mean, we've talked about how to sell yourself, how to evolve, building your storyline, and how to get other people interested in you. Is there any other quick tips you think that you will share with our audience?
Okay, so fundamentally, folks, there's a huge shift required here for us. And and I can just give you my personal examples.
Okay, great.
Even though I'm writing books, creating courses, lecturing at colleges, whatever, speaking to audiences, I'm an avid learner, right?
Mm,
So if you want to continue to evolve to sell yourself, because it's unlimited, the sky's the limit.
yes.
You know, again, a kid from South Manchester, here in Canada, making some waves. I continue to evolve every single day. Webinars, YouTube videos, read many books.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to sell yourself, you have to be up on the subject sometimes.
Yes,
So,
yes,
and
absolutely.
there's no excuse for anyone not to learn what they want, because it's literally available for free online.
Yes,
Just
yes,
punch it in and
especially
it comes
now.
up. Yeah,
Especially now. Even
yeah.
Harvard giving you free courses,
Even
webinars
Harvard.
galore.
Yeah. So what's our excuse? I can say I went to Harvard.
Okay. Okay, great, Everett. This has
Wolmer's
been
Boys School. That
Wilma's
was
Boys.
my school.
How could you forget that? Wilma's
I know.
Boys School.
Wolmer's
Wow.
Boys.
And
Even though I graduated and got the scholarship from Manchester High, I went to Wolmer's.
oh, okay. All right, great. So thank you so much, Everald, for joining us. Now, we just had a
Yes.
conversation. Our guest, Everald, a passionate speaker, a podcaster, an author. And, he's in the car business, guys. He developed lease financing sales
Yes.
process,
Yes. The
which
Lease
will be
Performance
available.
Blueprint.
Great. Thank you for that. And so we're very pleased that you joined us today. Please keep safe.
Yes,
We are
ma'am.
all abiding by, the regulations and what the government has told us to do, and wear our masks, etc. Wash our hands regularly,
Yes.
because we really want to
Yes.
keep ourselves, our family, and our friends safe. Thank you so very much. Have a good one, and
Yes.
we will connect again very soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone in Jamaica and everyone listening across the world. Stay safe.
Thank you
All
already.
right. Take
Good.
care.